This is the Altitude Daily Podcast. Everything you can't miss from today on Altitude Sports Radio. Mosher, Lombardi, and Kane.
We are a metropolitan, big sports history here. We have to have athlete statues to be a real city. I mean, come on. You want to be a real city?
It actually
LA's got like 10 of them.
It is crazy we don't have a statue
LA's
here.
got 10 statues of notable athletes who have played there. We don't have one? And the faces in front of Mile High don't count. That's their Hall of Honor. That's their Ring of Honor. That doesn't count. I'm talking about athlete statues who have changed the course of history in Denver. Like that.
But not
like that.
But one that actually looks like the
Exactly.
person you're talking about.
So
not
Miami
the D-Wade statue.
Miami has a couple of them. We don't have one. Are you kidding me? Like I'm just going to be very succinct here. John Elway deserves a statue first. He changed the course of history in Denver sports.
I would agree.
And anyone who disagrees with that, let me tell you, you're an idiot. That's number one. I think Nikola Jokic will be the second person to get a statue.
Could you make Sakic one?
Sure
now?
you could, but we're not giving statues away, evidently.
But if you're going to start the statue train, Elway gets one. I think Sakic gets one.
Sakic is very much
and then Joker gets one when his career's done.
100%.
Yeah.
Helton, if you're going to give one away for the Rockies, it's Todd Helton.
Okay. I actually saw somebody talking about this online yesterday, that everybody's got a face of the history of the franchise. So Elway's the Broncos, Sakic is the Avs,
Yes.
Joker is and will be the Nuggets. Would you say it's Helton or Larry Walker for the Rockies?
It's Todd Helton. That's not an argument.
Well, that's what the argument was.
It's not an argument.
Okay.
Todd Helton spent his entire career in Denver for the Rockies. He's a Hall of Famer. It's not an argument.
Texture says, hot take, statues are overrated, and we're better for not having any.
No. You got a stupid horse at the airport everybody talks about. What about that?
Hey, I wouldn't speak ill of Lucifer. No one's sure what his powers are. He killed the sculptor that created him. Show some respect.
I give that thing a salute every time I go by, just to make sure that we're good.
We got a bear peeking in our convention center.
That thing is...
this is what we are. We're a bunch of animals in Colorado. All we got is animals.
The Altitude Daily. The Morning Sprint.
I think the temptation would still exist for Sean Payton to look over at his running back room, Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet, and potentially a 4th or 5th round draft pick this year, and look at those guys and say, you know what? Those guys aren't that great. So I'm just going to do what I do, which is throw the football at a higher clip than just about anybody in the league. And we're going to say that it's short passing game. It's little, perimeter screen game. It's all the at the line of scrimmage stuff that we saw early last season. We saw even late in the season when Russell Wilson was kind of run out of town. And I just don't know that that's the model to win a Super Bowl, Raj. I think that's not the New Orleans Saints model is not relevant like it was 10, 15 years ago to today. And I think that model has caught up to the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't have a bell cow running back. They don't commit to the ground game. And guess when it caught up to him?
It caught up to him in one game. It caught up to him in the game, but they were there.
When you're not built the right way, it catches up to you when it catches up to you. And I think that, so I'm having this discussion. We're having this pontification. While on one end, I do believe that Audric Estime has not gotten the full opportunity to prove he is not running back one. I just think that Sean Payton would have the temptation to be like, yeah, he's just okay. Why would I feed him the ball when I can have Bo Nix throwing it to whoever?
So the question is here, is the only way to force Payton's hand into truly leaning on a bell cow running back?
Have a special player there.
Right. So is the only way to do that taking a running back in round 1 at pick 20?
Only if it's Ashton Genty, because there is not another running back that is worthy of pick 20. I promise you that.
Right, not worthy of pick 20, but you've told me there's 30 some odd running backs that have draftable grades.
Correct.
There's probably 5 or 6 running backs that are top 3 round grades. Like you can find Travion Henderson. You can find Caleb Johnson in the 2nd round this year. You can find Quinshaw Junkins, who at the beginning of the year going in for Ohio State was looked at as maybe one of the best running backs in the country. Like Ollie Gordon was terrible with Oklahoma State. Do you remember everyone talking about Ollie Gordon at the beginning of the year?
Mm-hmm.
That guy could be a 4th or a 5th round draft pick. So do you have to utilize that first-round draft pick in order to force Payton's hand as a play caller?
I feel like you do. Because when Sean Payton's had a really special running back, Reggie Bush in his prime, Ingram in his prime, combined with Kamara in his prime, I think that those have been the best iterations of Sean Payton's offense.
The Altitude Daily. Columbus, Hastings, and DMAC.
What's your vibe on Tee Higgins and the Broncos?
Well, DMAC, I think folks know that Sean Payton likes Tee Higgins as a player, so that's always the starting point. But I also think that the Bengals could still do a lot of things to keep him. And I think most people I know in the league think the Bengals will find a way to keep him before he hits the market.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he hits the market, all bets are off, I think. But a lot of the folks I know in the league believe the Bengals will do something. They'll either tag him or sign him, or they'll do something to keep him. And a lot of this is based on he, during the season, switched agents to Jamar Chase's agent. So
okay.
That a lot of folks think that this has a lot to do with all of that in one big package. But they certainly like him, and he would be a good addition. But I think the other side of it is, too, I know a lot of GMs who think wide receiver, as much as there are many, many big contracts at that position around the league, that's not a position you should break the bank on thinking you're going to get over the top with that spot. So I think he stays with the Bengals is more likely than him coming to the Broncos. But if he's in the market, I think certainly the Broncos would take a look.
Well, the other receiver out there right now that a lot of people are connecting to the Broncos because of our desperate need for a joker, according to Sean Payton, is Deebo Samuel. And Jeff, I guess I'll go ahead and tell you my opinion on it. But I might be on an island on this. I want the Broncos to do it. I think if you want to go get a joker, that dude's as good as anybody else in the NFL. But a lot of people disagree with me based off the value, what you'd give up, and the price tag, because he's going to want a new contract. Do you think the Broncos will pursue him?
I think they'll look at everything, Tyler, for what you say. I mean, he's, of all the players in the league, he may be the best fit for that position as a runner, receiver, refined route runner, runner from scrimmage with vision. I mean, he's got all the attributes of that spot. I think that, for me, the 10,000-foot view is he's never played every game in a season in his career. So it's just, how much do you want to pay for the possibility of, which is always the case in free agency, there's always the possibility you're paying for what the player was instead of what he will be. But I think they'll take a look, because the cap hit on the trade wouldn't be too bad. I still don't have a firm grasp on, he's got 4 voidable years on the end of his contract already.
The Altitude Daily. Kretman and Lindahl.
What really annoys me about all of this, maybe more so even than Embiid, obviously, we know why he won the MVP award. We know what the narrative was that was getting shoved in his direction. But also, Philly fans wanted that thing bad.
Yeah.
That was, remember, he had won the scoring title the year prior, but he was second in the MVP to Nikola Jokic, and he comes back in 22-23, and you got to get to that 65-game threshold, and he scores 33 a game, and he has a great season, and every Philly radio show, every Philly fan was happy to jump on Twitter and rip Jokic and jump into the stat padding argument, and Embiid is that his production is more meaningful, and this guy should be winning the MVP award. And man, Philly fans, they marshaled that damn parade the whole way, and Embiid bought into it because he wanted the MVP that badly. And so he had to push to be able to play the full 65. He ended up playing 66 that season, and he won himself the MVP. By my count, since winning that MVP award, and I'm just counting regular season games here, he has played 56 games since then. He has played 56 total games. since then. He only played 39 games last year and missed a ton of time. He's already missed a ton of time this season. It was slow to begin this year coming off of the Olympics. And again, he had a good Olympic game and a good gold medal game and all that. Like, I give Embiid's a world-class talent, but also his body is not built to be able to withstand this whole thing. But a part of what happened was the emotion of that MVP race. It really, I think it pulled Embiid to play more basketball than his body is capable of playing. He won himself an MVP. That team flamed out of the playoffs, and he's barely been available since that time, and now his body's broken, and he needs another surgery, Andy, and yet those fans, and you guys just won the Super Bowl. My God, you should be in a good mood. You're the gall to boo the guy after all of that? Come on, you can't have it both ways, Philly fans. You guys pushed him to play too much so he could win an MVP award, and you got to celebrate that and try and dunk all over Nikola Jokic for that whole thing, and now his body's broken, and you're out there booing him for it?
Yeah, but see, they're frustrated, and I kind of get it,
but
because
it's on them.
Yeah, but again, he went and played the Olympics. I don't think they'd be to this point of frustration had he not played in the Olympics, and he's claiming whatever this is.
Are you telling me Philly fans would be rational?
Well, but you don't blame him. You go and play. Look,
I would boo him.
My biggest concern about this Four Nations thing is one of our guys is going to get hurt playing in this Four Nations thing. And you're going to come back and have an issue with this.
Yeah, but Embiid's body is broken.
You've been listening to the Altitude Daily. Catch us live weekdays on 92.5 FM, the Altitude Sports Radio app, twitch.tv/AltitudeSR, youtube.com/Altitude Sports Radio, and your favorite smart speaker. Say Altitude Sports Radio.